Welcome to Smash Writing. I'm Paul. This is Justin, and today we're back with another episode. And this time we're taking a look back at 2024, the year of the sequels on my list, apparently.
The year is over. Yay!
Now, keep in mind, there was hundreds of movies that came out this year. You can only see so many. So if your movie didn't make our list, that doesn't mean we didn't like it, or we just maybe didn't watch it.
Unless I didn't like it. As you could probably find somewhere on the channel.
I'm sure we will.
I did about 25 of them this year, I think.
Yeah, I pushed about like 15, 16.
You did reviews for none of them.
I know. They'll actually be coming because my daughter's of age now to leave me the hell alone. Love you. Without further ado, let's get into our top 10. Justin, kick us off.
Oh, starting off this top 10 list.
But first,
Alright, my number 10, Alien Romulus. I was really excited for Alien Romulus coming out. It had Fede Alvarez. It's like, you're the man, I love your movies. And while it had some really great parts, and I did love seeing the Xenos, I thought they had a great final girl. I loved the relationship between her and her brother. I think his name was Andy. There was a few parts I really didn't care for, and it kind of dragged it back real hard for me. I really hated that end monster. Sometimes it's like, you downgraded your monster here in a bad way. But also, I really didn't care about the fact that Rook was back. Then even like, I believe it was like Alien itself, the Xeno itself was the same Xeno from the very first movie. It's like, I don't really care about that at all. But then you had the one character who just would not stop complaining. We understand, you don't fucking like androids. Move on. Talk about something else. But, while there's a lot of complaints, there's a lot of things that were really positives on this. The Xenomorphs really worked really good. And everything else worked really great. And I am looking forward to the sequel, to see what they're going to next.
Alright, that's your number 10. My number 10 is none other than Ghostbusters: The Frozen Empire. Now, initially, when this movie came out, I think it made my top 10 24, like going into 24. I can't remember. But, and the same reason why it made my list, the preview list, in this list is because it still delivered on some things, but I was more interested in seeing, can it follow up with Afterlife. Some things in my eyes, some of the jokes fell flat. It going overboard with now the new like CSI type of crew that they got going on.
My biggest problem with Frozen Empire, I got this on the review, I just haven't edited it, was they tried to balance too many stories.
Yes.
Because everyone had something going on. I wish they would have just focused on that core family unit. And it branched out from there, but stuck to the family more.
I wanted them to stick with the new crew. The new actual, I mean, I know, most of the time they were, but the one girl that was now like under the CSI type of stuff, she should have been in the ghost busting as well, like on the actual scene.
I didn't have a problem with her working that side of it. I think it was called the Paranormal Investigation Unit or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But they should have been trying to win Trevor over, and then the mom trying to pull Trevor back to the family. So there was a back and forth there. And his main storyline should have been them to, like, she's trying to win him over by showing off the new toys, and how easily they could handle Slimer. Well, at every turn, Slimer just embarrasses them.
Yeah.
And you would have had a lot more for Trevor to do, because Trevor had nothing going on in this movie.
He really didn't.
No.
He really did. He was supposed to have such a good role. Now, like, when you're in this year, yeah, it made my top 10. If I was to one day rank the Ghostbusters when the films are done, this is coming up short.
I think it'd be like more in the middle. So I'd put it higher than Ghostbusters 2. And maybe higher than the remake.
Answer to call.
I think it would literally find itself in the middle.
Maybe, but I just didn't see that it was such a great fall. These next two that I'll have on my list, Ghostbusters and my number 9 when we get to it, I just felt like they were good for this year, but they weren't the good follow-ups that I was expecting.
Yeah.
But my number 10, Ghostbusters, The Frozen Empire.
Oh, my number 9 is Love Lies Bleeding. This movie had a lot going on for it. I really liked the dynamics between Kristen Stewart and Katie M. O'Brien, who played Jackie and Lou. I love this idea of this little ghost town just overrun with the mafia issues kind of deal. And this could have been higher up. I love the ending, too. The ending was fantastic. I loved how we went out on this movie. But not, like, the main climax. I'm talking, like, the end credits. The end of the climax, I hated.
Who would have thought the credits was the...
And I get, like, a lot of people were like, well, it's not what's really happening. It's a metaphor for what's going on in her head. And it's like, I get it, but you showed it, and it looked bad. And I hated it. So, for all the positives I could say about Love Lies Bleeding, and have said it, I did a review for it on the channel. This falls to number 9 because of how it ended.
It's always the ending. All right, my number for Sony. My number 9. Sorry, Sony. You and these films, man. God, you're killing me. Bad Boys 4. Once again, you had the same elements that repeated stuff, and granted, that's what Bad Boys is all about. If this film could have waited like 10 more years, I might want to enjoy it. I think that's probably why I enjoy 3 more than anything, because there's such a long layoff there, and they actually had a good story. This one was just, it kind of just felt like it was there to be there.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if overall if it's a bad film, good film. I don't think anytime you got Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, they're going to give you the comedy. They're going to give you some little bit of action and so forth. It's just,
I have a feeling those two have got the chemistry to just always be great themselves.
Yeah. And I think anytime, if you were to take those two out of the film, it probably wouldn't make a top 10 on anybody's list. I did like, the one shooting scene, Reggie, with Reggie as well. But even with the camera being like that POV type of angle that they were doing, that was like a good little touch.
No, I haven't watched a Bad Boys movie since Bad Boys 2.
I mean, you ain't missing much.
Yeah.
So
I saw the writing on the wall of 3. It's like, this is not the genre for me. I hardly like 2.
3 was going to pull me in a direction where I was like, I don't want to see this happen, because like they were, with Will Smith's character's son, going to get leniency if he helps do something. It's like, didn't the Fast and Furious already do that crap? And I'm like, I don't like it. It's stupid.
Yeah.
But this one was it just felt like there, and I'm also so tired of Martin Lawrence's character's always bitching about like retirement and not doing it, and yet you still do it. Stop. But in the grand scheme of things, definitely like when we look at the decade, this probably will not be there. But for 2024, it's up there. That is my number 9, Bad Boys Ride or Die, a.k.a. Bad Boys 4.
But first,
My next up list is Lisa Frankenstein. Like, 8/10 of the reason this is here is because of just the premise of alone. I just love the idea of this fucking movie. The guy came back from the dead because she wishes for a boyfriend to be with.
I should probably not hear this because I was actually interested in watching.
Well, it's fine, so I'm not going to go to it. And just, it goes so sideways immediately in this movie. And it just becomes a train wreck of biblical proportions. And it is wonderful to see from start to finish. There's some actually really good laughs in this movie. Really good character work from everyone. I love the fact that not everyone in the family disliked Lisa, and you had that really strong sisterly vibe going on there. but it just could not save it. It was everything was going sideways, and I'm like, I'm here for the ride. It had those strong like '80s Tim Burton vibes without the negative portions of it being a Tim Burton movie. But Lisa Frank had a great time.
Okay. My number 8 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I am slightly disappointed in the film because the first trilogy of this, I don't know if you technically want to call it a remake, because it's more of a prequel series. They were building, the first 3 films was kind of building towards Caesar and his next steps. Now I get like that with what all has happened since the last film. This film, there was going to be a gap, and that's fine because you can keep writing. I didn't really like how much of a gap in the timeline, but it still had good character developments among the humans. The apes, doing their thing with the 2 different cultures, believing in 2 different things. I think just like overall what disappointing was they went, I believe it was like 300 years after Caesar, the events of Caesar and something like that. It's a couple centuries. And that's the big thing that I didn't like overall about this film. But it still had all the elements that the previous 3 films incorporated. A little bit more of a realistic tone. Like if this was ever a real thing, it could go in this direction. Seeing the humans, kind of begin to completely, truly be phased out and then even becoming more mute and going back to their animal ways. It did enough for me to say that I am looking forward to the next film, whenever that next film will be. I just hope that we got
to be catching up to the Planet of the Apes at this point.
I actually watched. I'll have to go back and honestly answer that question, and I feel like we're probably like maybe like 200 years away from.
Oh dear God! Seriously?
Yeah, because like when you watch the Planet of the Apes, like they're still developing cultures at this point, even though it's 300 years after Caesar. They're still developing cultures. If my memory serves me right, like the Planet of the Apes, and when I'll look this up later, and you can put it in the post. The Planet of the Apes, they're still well established, and like they haven't seen a human in like forever, to where they don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
So when they see the astronauts arrive on Earth, they are like, "What is this?" Now humans still kind of like existed, but they're so far in between that most of them don't know. So we're still a distance away. I'm just kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see more of Caesar's story finish. But nevertheless, it's a good movie, good character development, seeing the cultures and playing off of some real life views. But that is my number 8, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Well, my number 7 is kind of surprised me it made it on the list. I'm not going to lie. When I sat down and made it, I didn't think this one would be here. It's Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. And it is largely 95% on the back of Alan Richardson.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
I mean,
the guy who freaks out every time a Reacher anything comes on Amazon.
Yeah,
I mean, backing a movie that has Reacher in it. Yep, yeah. It's just, it was so interesting watching a movie with him and Caval be the smaller person.
Oh, they were both in that.
Yes.
I might have to give it a try then.
It was some fun action sequences in this movie. I loved watching Alan Richardson running around with a bow and arrow. It's like just that dude's the size of a gorilla and he's shooting a bow and arrow.
Oh.
It's absurd action at its finest. Well, it's not absurd action, but it's action at its finest. We get absurd action later.
I mean, if you're giving me Henry and Alan in there, I mean, I would assume you're going to get some action. If you had those two in there and they were not fighting of any type of sort, then you're wasting.
Yeah.
Not that they're bad actors, no. But come on, they're ripped, they're strong.
Yeah.
They better be kicking somebody's ass. Even if they, like, punted a dog or something, I'm like, something! Give me some leg movement. But they have to be fighting.
Oh, yeah. A lot of fighting has occurred.
My number 7. This film kind of grew on me more as
Like a tumor.
it's so stupid, but it just kind of like in like this year, like it just
Would you like to say the name of that
yeah.
movie?
My number 7 is Ricky Sting Nicky. So if you haven't watched it, it is about 3 friends, who always made up a fake friend to get out of trouble. It's Ricky Sting Nicky and here we go. You mouse and let it finish. It's a weekly occurrence. 3 friends and they basically grow up and they do things and they always blame it on their 4th friend, who is Ricky Sting Nicky, and then one is actually getting married, and now they have to bring in a physical person to be this Ricky Sting Nicky. And who do they hire? None other than a person that's played by John Cena. And John Cena's comedy skills are kind of starting to grow more and more.
He's such a hit or miss. He could be really funny or he could be a dumbass. And when he's a dumbass, he's the worst.
I think like he's I don't know if he might be in the middle when it comes to this film, because I thought the best part was his performance of being Ricky Sting Nicky.
Stan Nicky.
Stan Nicky, yeah. But he basically takes over the movie, takes over like everybody's attention, and gets anything that you would think your 4th best friend that you've been blaming everything on, he's getting. So it was I don't want to say it's the best comedy, once again, in a grand scheme of things. You probably won't hear me talk much about it again, but for the 2024, I did kind of enjoy it for this year. That's my number 7.
My number 6. My number 6. Whenever you hear the term like this movie's not going to be for everybody, there could be a few people a few contenders for that. Drive Away Dolls might be the number 1 of that answer, though. It's not going to be for everyone. It's weird. It's bizarre. The humor is very on the nose. And I love it all. Love it so much. I am here for every
Your opening
moment
for
of
that
this movie.
It's like you're making it feel like you wasn't going to like it, but then you're like, scratch that. I'm here.
I am the market for this movie. It's weird. It's bizarre. It's strange.
Give a little
editing
detail.
choices. No, because you haven't seen it yet.
I mean, at least talk about the best part.
I already did. I can't say it on YouTube.
There are certain toys and replicas of people.
It's just such. Whenever you find out what they're transporting, it's like, what am I watching? What happens to the henchman at the end? It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
How can we swear, but you can't talk about that?
It's just lovely time. I love it so much. So much. It's just simple premise too. Two women end up with the wrong car. They're supposed to deliver to Tallahassee, I think. And you have 2 people who are chasing after them, trying to get the package back, and they are oblivious the whole time. And the ending of it is just so crazy how this ends. Because in effect, they do nothing to stop the bad guys, except for the main bad guy that they extort for cash.
My number 6. Obviously, everybody knows I have a daughter. That's why I've kind of been busy raising her a little bit. And she's finally getting into movies, but I'm trying to break her in slowly because now that she can comprehend what's going on, we can't always watch Friday the 13th. Bummer.
Yes, you can.
Well, Mercy
You
yells
can't
at me.
show her Drive Away Dolls. You can show her.
Who says who? I mean, Marissa might disagree with me, but my daughter's going to be like the next generation of moviegoer, so I got to get her in here. But we're starting off with number 6, Kung Fu Panda 4. My next 2 just seems like even though they're number 4s, nice, they had spin-offs, they're still giving a little charm. You still got Jack Black being in there, and your level characters on another mission. Even though the plot pretty much, they can't do much with it. The animation was still good. They still gave it its big budget to do what it needs to do. Jack Black leads the comedy. The good guys. something. This was definitely fun for the family, and that's why it is my number 6 because my daughter was entertained by it, so I was like and it's not bad. Like don't like it's not like it's like one of those films where you put Bluey on or something. You're like turn it off. No, it was a fun little movie. I don't know if I.
No, you're gonna get the Bluey fans after you.
Brutal. No, I'm playing. It's me. Hey, it's still better than Blippi too. So come at me, bro. No, I'm playing. But that's my number 6, Kung Fu Panda 4.
But first,
Your number.
My number 5. It's gotten another shocker that I have it here. Furiosa. Well, this is a long movie, but it feels very much like an epic kind of saga kind of deal.
How long is it?
Like 3 hours. It's 2 hours and 28 minutes.
2.5 hours?
Yes.
Holy crap!
But honestly, it is one of those types of movies where
It's like 3 Mad Max films in one.
every bit of this movie feels justified. You can't cut a moment of this movie. 'Cause every moment of this movie adds something, adds a level, adds a dynamic to Furiosa. From the childhood when she was captured to what she was doing growing up and where she was hiding, and then how she became the driver, and just everything led up to Mad Max Thunder Road perfectly. It was answered in Furiosa. And like long movie is a hell of a time though for a long movie. And Chris Hemsworth was a hell of a villain.
He's coming on it with certain roles.
Yeah. And Taylor Joy was a great choice to play young Furiosa too.
All right, my number 5, Despicable Me 4. Once again, it's another just a fun franchise. This one though is this whole series. Honestly, with Despicable Me, I get the vibe that it's for families and it tries to throw in some PG, adult jokes.
Yeah.
And you get the same things. This is why this series is still going pretty good. I'm not Steve Carell. He can rub me the wrong way with some of his comedy. I like him as a voice actor. So yeah. But they still had the little PG adult jokes in there. They still it's still marketed for the families. I did not watch these back to back. Okay, me and my daughter has agreement, and that we're not going to watch more than one cartoonish, whatever type of animation you want to call this. She likes cars, by the way.
It's a lie. No one likes cars.
No, I do. I actually like that. And obviously these are only ones that we have access to. Was able to watch. We were able to see Moana 2. She loves the Moana songs, all of that. So for now, Despicable Me 4 got my list because we didn't see the rest of it. The rest of the Pixar stuff this year. Inside Out 2 was another one. So for now, I guess it's not for now. They're staying because it's final. Number 5, Despicable Me 4.
My number 4, I said absurd action will come later. Here it is. Boy Kills World. Bill Skarsgård was insane in this movie. He is jacked to the nines in this fucking movie. And it is wonderful. I love the idea that he's got his own narrator from a video game because he can't talk anymore. And it's Bob from Bob's Burgers. I love that idea even more. Me and my one former coworker used to quote the one line from this movie all the time. Player 2 is fucking crazy! The action was brutal. It was swift. It was fast-paced. This movie's extremely fast-paced. There's very few down moments. And when the fights ramp up, it gets brutal and gory. And I am here for the brutal fight scenes in this movie. because it all just flows. The story is a bit Shakespearean in a way. You get a bit of Shakespearean story going through here. And it had a happy ending all around, too. Hooray for everybody.
All right.
But first,
My number 4, and Miles, will join this too because this is his number 3.
Yep, your 4 and my 3.
Yep. And this one was like a late addition because I didn't think I would kind of enjoy it, but we are talking about Twisters.
How dare you not think you're going to enjoy Twister?
Well, so like I always enjoyed the first film.
I was worried going in.
That's why. That's honestly why. Like, because it was on Peacock. I watched it on Peacock like literally like last night as we record this, and I try to stay away from it because I was just like, what story can you give me now that Twister didn't already give me? And it was such a good film, and I didn't believe in the sequels. And then I watched it, and it caught me off guard how much I did actually enjoy it.
Yeah, I really liked the fact that I was worried about the approach, especially when they're like, we're going to kill a tornado. I'm like, please don't be the premise. But then it went back to like more science-based shit, like trying to get the triangulation, and then circled back around again to the killing a tornado. My biggest problem is like, they left the ending too ambiguous for me. Like, did her experiment work, or did the tornado just expire? Because it seemed like they were talking about, like, even the movie itself, they were like, well, we don't know exactly if it was your solution or not, but we think it was.
a cliffhanger ending there, in the sense of what are they going to do next.
I mean, I'd be for Twisters 3. Yeah. I have big shoes to fill. I feel it did adjust. It did the first movie justice.
Yeah, that's where I'm like nervous. Like, could they do this again? Like,
I think if they bring back the same crew, not like the same actors, anything like the same directors and writers and everything, I think they could.
Okay.
Not that I'm saying like get rid of the crew. I'm like, no, bring the crew back. They were fun.
Yeah. I forgot the guy's name that plays.
Glenn Powell.
Yeah, he is a very talented actor.
Yeah.
And I'm glad like he got his own show, The Tracker, and all of that. I really like his. He's very dynamic, and I think he's coming into his own. And so I thought he was a good part of it. I did like the story, though. You have your storm chasers that were really, into weather. They weren't just storm chasers; they were actually intelligent.
Daisy Edgar Jones was great. She did a great job too.
Yeah,
but I did like the fact that they just wiped out that first crew.
Yeah.
All of you are dead except for you.
And then and
it's brutal too, man. That stuff's brutal. The one who got hit with the tree. Good Lord.
They did not this was not. And just when you thought the boyfriend was going to live too, he gets them what were they under an underpass in a groove, and you just think those two are going to survive, and then wham, he just gets taken off.
I did enjoy the fact that they showed that don't hide under that underpass. That's not good.
Yeah.
But also I love the fact that they showed that it was more than just about the storm chasing, but going into towns and helping afterward.
Yeah, and
because the only time they did that in the first one was when Aunt May was hit.
Right.
But this one, they really hemmed in on that fact. It's like, you have to do more than just chase the tornado. They also go in and help.
Yeah, and that's where I do appreciate the development, the story outside of the tornadoes. Love the Wranglers. Because it was just, you have the scientific-looking bunch, which was led by, Jave, right? Was that Jave. And, he was part of...
Jave. What the hell is wrong with you?
He was part of that original wild, crazy young crew, and now, look, he's all, running his own system with PhD people and stuff like that. Then you got the Wranglers.
The soon-to-be Superman, I believe. That was the asshole in this movie.
Really?
I believe so.
We gotta double-check this.
Yes.
Yeah,
there he is, David Scott.
Nice. But either way, this was like just a really good movie, and I'm digging Glenn Powell. Like he showed like he wants to be goofy. And,
I heard he was really good in the second Top Gun Maverick. But
yeah,
I'd rather drag my face along gravel than watch
anything with Tom Cruise. It's going to be a hard no. So he's going to miss out on some other good actors developing.
Goddamn right I will.
But nevertheless, it was a really good film, and that's why it's my number 4.
And my number 3.
Twisters. So I'll jump into my number 3. This is Godzilla and Kong on the New Empire. I was very hesitant watching this because I thought they did everything they could with Godzilla versus Kong. Though I felt like that film was rushed, probably. I catch myself enjoying the more of these other films now. I watched the Monarch Monsters TV show on Apple. And then watching this one. This one really got me because they went good with the graphics. And I thought they kind of gave us a little bit of good balance of both the human story and returning some humans from like the previous film, which they really haven't done. Because they always die. I mean, but I think this makes my list this high because it was such a colorful masterpiece. When we saw the previews, I saw the previews, and Godzilla had the pink radiation. It was like, well, they got to change the colors for marketing, which is probably true. But in the movie, they gave a good explanation, like, nah, this is like the jacking up of Godzilla. Scar King was a good touch. I do feel like the Ancient Titan, the one that freezes everything, was kind of don't call her an Ancient Titan of magical proportions, and then have her basically be like Scar King's dog. Like that's basically all it was. But then it's like a cousin of Godzilla, and it's a dog basically. But it's definitely high on this list because it was just such a fun little ride and actually a good back and forth seeing Godzilla be flexible and I swear like we were texting this like a while back about like, or I seen this online where it's like people hated this film because Godzilla's not that mobile and he's not that.
I have no idea.
So there was like a complaint, but then like somebody showed like, did you watch the original Godzilla films? That fucker was bouncing all around. So finally they're giving him his.
Oh yeah, I remember that conversation.
Yeah.
Whenever Godzilla, I showed you the picture of like the gif of him throwing the drop kick or something like that.
He didn't drop kick, but it's like his running mobility.
That's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
We might see in the next film.
You gotta do flying drop kick or else I'm out of here.
He came close. Like he was on a cliff, and it looked like he was gearing up to do that, but then instead they flipped at him jumping in the water. But that's my number 3, Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire.
My number 2 is Abigail. A lot of people complained about Abigail because they showed the fact she was a vampire in the trailer. It's like, that's the selling point. You have to show the selling point of the movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a kidnapping gone wrong situation. That's boring. Dozens of that. In fact, they kidnapped a vampire. It's like, yeah, I'm here for that shit.
I mean, it gives it an interesting story at the very least.
But you got a small cast, so you got time with each of them. Hello again, Catherine Newton. We see you from Lisa Frankenstein. Alicia Weir, who played Abigail, did a great job. Terrifying child covered in blood. Yes, that's why you don't have children. But yeah, Melissa Barrera is kick-ass. More stuff for her. I saw someone do a Photoshop of her looking like Wonder Woman, and I'm here for that. That's a great fucking selection. Rest in peace, Angus Cloud. It's a lovely time. So much blood. So much gore. I'm here for it. Absurd amount of blood. The vampires died in this movie. They exploded. And blood-filled balloons. It's like, yes. Bravo.
Nice.
More of this. I want a sequel to this movie. I'll say, the one downer was like, I was really hoping like when they showed the title, I'm like, oh, please let it be Edward. Even if it's not him playing Edward, just let it be him as the vampire, because people would pop off like, even I'd pop off like crazy for that. But, no, it wasn't, but I would gladly take a sequel to Abigail in a heartbeat. It did not do well at the box office.
It did.
But I heard that it did clean up on streaming. It blew up on streaming, so maybe there'll be Second Life there.
There you go. My number 2 is Roadhouse. I just like to say it that way because of Family Guy. Roadhouse. I never watched the original Roadhouse. I always wanted to, just never got around to it.
Yeah, the remake versus original for that.
Yep. And that will just have them make me watch it, so I'm on with that. This one, I'm not always a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan, but this one really sold me. You know, there's only a few films of his that I really enjoy, and this is just one of them.
Spider-Man.
But was that his film?
Well, he was a villain in it. He was the main villain in it.
Well, yeah, but this one, you know, he's like a former MMA fighter who just kind of does like small end jobs, and he goes from town to town. Well, he goes down to a Florida town, and he gets like a job, and everything's good, but the place that he works at, Roadhouse, has some like issues with some people, and he takes upon himself to do the right thing, and it kind of opens the floodgates. This film has Conor McGregor in it as like not the main villain, but the villain's bodyguard of sorts. And they had some good fight scenes, and Conor being Conor, that wasn't his character's name, but the thing that I loved about Dalton, which is the main character in Roadhouse, was he tells you what he's going to do, and then warns you like not to do it again as he fucks you up. He's like, so what I'm going to tell you is I'm going to break your esophagus. You're going to hurt for a few minutes, and then you're going to die, okay? It was that dry sense of humor that was very, very entertaining. And because of that, I know that they announced the sequel. I am looking forward to that, and hopefully they can continue on, because this was a really good movie. I would love to have seen this in theaters, like it make the theaters, but it was on Amazon Prime as an Amazon original, which, you know, they base it off of strings rather than money. This film probably would have made some good money. That's my number 2.
All right, real quick, we're running out of battery. No.
No.
Worst movie of the year.
Joker 2. I did watch that a couple days ago. Yeah. You know, when we were doing this 2024, I wanted to try to get as many more films in. Yeah, no. It was between that and Mean Girls.
I went with Imaginary. Terrible.
Really?
Blumhouse bullshit. God damn it. Imaginary is a great idea on paper, but then Blumhouse is like, no money, PG-13, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll roll out a Megan. Maybe it'll be Imaginary, where actors will just casually be out of character because something needs to happen. And if they acted within their character, then this would happen. So, just be it. Ignore your family for a moment, sister. You there, random story. Do better, Blumhouse. God damn it.
All right. This is what you've been waiting for. It shouldn't be a surprise.
The number 1, we tied.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, of course it was. It's everything.
I mean,
it delivered on everything it wanted.
The jokes. This movie made NSYNC Bye Cool.
Yes.
Like everybody's doing it now because of the fucking dance.
Yeah, that song from Grease and the big fight in the car. That was wonderful. They had the cameos for days, and the cameos were perfect. It was all centered around Fox heroes. Big farewell to them, and rightfully deserved for most of them. I was not expecting Blade in 2024, but here we are, and I fucking loved it.
And here's Gambit, the performance of Channing with the Gambit. My God,
Jennifer Garner's Elektra. She's back.
She still got it.
She's fucking wonderful.
But Gambit, just I really want a Gambit movie.
Yeah.
And I know like they wanted to, but
amazing villain work from Emma Corrin, who did Cassandra Nova.
Yep.
Just wonderful.
Chris Evans got
Evans was wonderful. Great fucking. The flame on part was amazing.
That scene right there, because like he had the blue and reddish on.
Yeah.
So you like, oh, there's Captain America. We always wanted it to happen. He went into the void. Flame on! You're like, oh. And then, or the Wolverine and Sabretooth fight was definitely a sweet ass callback to the original film when Wolverine's like, I'm just gonna, or no, was it Origins where he's like, I'm gonna cut your fucking head off. Do you know how to kill me? I'm gonna cut your fucking head off.
The Calvarine.
Oh my god.
Him killing the TVA agents with fucking Logan's body. Ripping off bits of skeleton and chucking it at them.
But the actually see the comic accurate size Wolverine was hilarious.
The short King Wolverine, yes. We could
the Jesus one.
We'd be here for a day.
Yeah,
this movie was wonderful. It was everything it needed to be and more. The best time I had at the theater all year.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the electricity in the air before the movie started. The trailers are running and you just feel the excitement build up in the trailer.
This was definitely one of the few that I did get to go see in theaters. And
because I told you to.
yeah. And then a friend of mine was like, I'll go with you because I want to see... I may now know two people that want to see movies again and again. They're like the same movie over and over again in theaters. Because he's like, yeah, I want to go again just because of how good it was. I was like, okay, calm down. I figured it was going to be good, but this was great.
I knocked it out.
This may be a runner for number one in the decade, too. I'm just saying it. I'm calling it right now.
No, it wasn't a runner-up for me. I already knew what number one was before I started that list. And that's our 2024, though.
Until next time.
Had some rocky ups and downs, what we got here.
Yeah. Until next time. Bye-bye.